Today, we're diving into one of the most confusing topics for Amazon sellers, especially if you're based outside of Europe, and that is how the European VAT system works and how to reclaim import VAT and what happens when you sell across the European Union. I spent 2 weeks talking to tax agencies, researching and uncovering this information because I also intend to launch in Europe. So I'd like to bring you guys along the journey and give you the same information that I have acquired to help you get a leg up when you do your own due diligence. In light of all that is going on with tariffs and new moving pieces globally, I think this is a great time to consider other markets outside of the USA. Now, I'd just like to point out that this is not financial or tax advice, so if you do choose to use this information, please do your own due diligence to make the best decision for yourself and your business. So if you're an American, Canadian, or a non-European seller in general using Amazon FBA in Europe, stick around. I promise you'll leave this video with much more information than you came in. And all of this information that we discuss here can be found in a cheat sheet with a link in the description below. We'll happily give you the cheat sheet for free in exchange for your email. My name is Zane and I'm from LandingCube. We help sellers advertise their Amazon listing on Google, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So let's start with the basic question. What is VAT? VAT stands for value added tax. It's like a sales tax in USA, but it's charged at every step of the supply chain from manufacturing to the final sale. But here's the key. Only the final customer actually pays it in the end. Everyone else reclaims what they paid. So if you are manufacturing products outside of Europe, the first point of VAT that you will actually see is during import. So how does import VAT work? Well, let's say you are an American or Canadian seller importing products into Germany from China. When your goods arrive, German customs charges you import VAT, usually around 19%, based on the cost of your goods, shipping, and insurance. So here's an example. If you import 4,000 euros worth of goods, this is what's going to be seen on your supplier's invoice. You also have to pay shipping and insurance, and let's say that's worth 1,000 euros. So you've paid a total of 5,000 euros. 19% of import VAT is charged on the total sum of goods, shipping, and insurance. So 5,000, which in this case results in 950 euros in import VAT. You pay that up front before you even sold anything. But here's the good news. You can reclaim that full 950 euros, but only once those goods are actually sold. So let's talk about how you can start reclaiming the import VAT that you've sold now that we are in Europe with the goods that you've imported. Here's the key. You can't just reclaim all of your import VAT just because you imported. You actually have to sell the goods to reclaim the goods import VAT. So let's say you've imported 100 units and paid 1,000 euro in import VAT. You've sold 30 units this quarter. That means you can only reclaim 30% of that 1,000 euros, and that would be 300 euros. The rest, it stays in your input VAT credit and you can reclaim it later as you sell the rest of your inventory. In other words, the amount of import tax you can reclaim is related to the percentage of inventory sold. It is not based on how much VAT you collected from your customers. For example, let's say you paid 1,000 euros in import VAT, but you charge your customers a very large markup. You sell 30 units and you have collected a total of 1,500 in VAT. You can still only reclaim 30% of the import VAT because only 30% of your inventory was sold. So in this case, even though you have collected 1,500 euros, you can only deduct 300 euros from the 1,500, and now you still owe the taxman 1,200 euros. Now let's talk about what the customers actually pay in VAT. When you sell to the customers in the European Union, you charge them VAT based on their home country in which they are purchasing. So if you sell to Germany, you charge 19% VAT. If you sell to customers in France, you charge them 20%. And if you sell to customers in Italy, you charge them 22%. Even if your stock is in Germany, you apply the customer's local VAT rate. What that means is just because Germany's VAT rate is lower, 19%, but if you're selling to a customer in France, you have to charge them the France VAT rate, not the Germany VAT rate, even though it's lower. And by the way, guys, if you like this kind of content, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's talk about how this complicates things, because since you're selling to multiple VAT countries, you actually have to file your tax claims to those countries. But this does get a little bit simpler because there is a system called the one-stop shop system that the European Union has established. So to simplify all of the individual VAT collected from all the different countries and to claim all the VAT and pay it to the taxman in each individual countries, to simplify all of this, the European Union created the one-stop shop system, OSS. And here's how it works. You register OSS in one European country, example, say Germany. You charge local VAT rates based on the customer's country. If you sell to France, it's 20%. You submit one quarterly OSS report and payment, and then the tax office in which you establish your OSS forwards the money to the correct countries on your behalf, like France or Italy. But here's the twist. OSS only works if you store inventory in one European country. Once you store in multiple countries, for example, Germany and France, One Stop Shop cannot help you for those countries, and you will indeed be required to have a VAT and tax ID in France or any of those countries that you stored inventory in. And I know this gets complicated, guys, and we can definitely help you scale your business in every single European country with PPC, and here's how we can help you. If you want to learn more on how you can optimize Amazon PPC, you can get a free copy of our ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Amazon Ads, Advanced Tactics, and Best Practices. This book has received a 4.8 out of 5-star rating on Amazon and has helped beginners and advanced sellers alike. Click the link in the description below to sign up to our emailing list and receive a free copy. Okay, let's talk about all of the Amazon FBA and fulfillment models. There are 3 Amazon fulfillment models: the European Fulfillment Network, EFN, the Multi-Country Inventory System, MCI, and finally, the Pan-European FBA, Pan-EU FBA. And let's talk about some of the pros and cons. Starting with the European Fulfillment Network. In this EFN system, you will have inventory stored in one country, example, Germany. You can use the one-stop shop OSS to handle cross-border B2C sales tax filing. So by the way, guys, OSS only applies for B2C sales. It does not apply to B2B, and you only need to register VAT in one country. The downside is it is higher fulfillment costs to other European countries because you're storing in one country. It has to go further to the other country to delivery of those customers, and it also has to cross the border, which does kind of increase complexity, and it has a slower shipping outside the storage country, of course. This is best for beginners who want a simplified compliance requirement. You only need one VAT and tax ID in one country, and that is the country in which you store your inventory in. The next model is the Multi-Country Inventory System, MCI. In this one, you can choose which European countries to store your inventory in, and obviously it would be the ones that you sell to most. You have far more control over where your stock goes, but the downside is you must register for VAT in every country you store your inventory in, and you lose your OSS eligibility for those countries. But this is great for growing sellers that are looking to scale up to acquire more customers because of the faster shipping times that it allows them to have, which is a huge advantage. If you give people faster shipping time, they're much more likely to buy. But the seller must be okay with the added complexity. And finally, we have the Pan-EU FBA, which covers all of the European Union. Amazon auto distributes inventory across multiple European countries. This results in the fastest shipping time and the lowest per unit fulfillment cost. The downside is you must register for VAT in all countries where Amazon stores inventory, and this can be over 7 countries. It is the highest compliance cost and complexity, but it is the best for high volume sellers with accounting support or external tax advisors. So I highly recommend this if you are only a high 6-figure or 7-figure seller. So let's do one final example on how all of this connects. Let's say you import 10,000 euros worth of goods into Germany and you pay 1,900 euros in import VAT, 19% as Germany would charge. You sell 500 euros to German customers, so you collect 95 VAT from them, and you sell 4,500 worth of goods to French customers, collect 900 euros in VAT via OSS. You sold 50% of your inventory, half your inventory. So what that means is you can reclaim 50% of your import VAT, which is 950, which is 50% of 1,900. You have to report 95 euros to your German VAT, and you have to report 900 euros in VAT for France via OSS. You can reclaim 950 euros from the import VAT, which means Germany owes you 855 euros. Now, the complexity here is that just because you sold more inventory to France does not mean you can reclaim less import VAT from Germany, even though that's where you imported your goods. This is the best part. Germany still owes you the full amount of the import VAT that you are eligible to reclaim despite you selling in different countries. And that's why they owe you a refund of 855 euros. So let's talk about how to actually register for VAT in Germany as a non-European seller. I'm doing Germany because that is the biggest market in Europe, and that's where I'm going to start, and that's why I have this information for you. So you will need a third-party tax company, and here's what the process looks like. You have to appoint a fiscal representative. Persons responsible is what they call it. If you are from a non-European country, the fiscal representative requires a company in Germany with a German address, and that's the main reason why you need third-party help. So you must complete the VAT registration form, provide the requirement documentation such as certificate of incorporation, passport or director ID, trade license or Amazon seller proof, and a German delivery address, which is your warehouse. You then wait 8 to 12 weeks, and if everything goes smoothly, you'll get a Steuernummer, that is the German word for German tax number, to file your returns, and a UST IDNR, which is the German abbreviation for the German word for VAT number for European-wide use. Then you apply for an EORI number. This stands for Economic Operators Registration and Identification Number. This is your customs ID and required to import goods into the European Union. Absolutely mandatory. So I know that was really complicated. If you are a non-European seller, selling in the EU is an amazing opportunity, but it does come with the complexity. The key is to understand where your inventory is, where your customers are that you're selling to, and how VAT works between the different countries. I hope this helped clarify things. Hit that like and subscribe button. And again, there is a cheat sheet that explains all of this through a link in the description below. And in the comments, if you guys want another video that clarifies this further, if this wasn't good enough, then please let me know. I would love constructive feedback, and we can absolutely create a better video to explain this system. It is very complex. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. And before we go, let me show you how we can help you with LandingCube. If you're looking to build a landing page or collect emails to build your brand audience, check out LandingCube. We're a landing page builder for all your off-Amazon marketing needs, such as Google, TikTok, and Facebook. Click the link in the description below for a free 21-day trial. Until next time, guys, have a good day.